hello there. This is your girl Valerie Mason Chase again, and who do I got with me tonight, baby?
Cookie Man, who's on a time limit. The Giants play tonight.
Oh my God! Listen, I just want to say because for all of you who do not know, we are Giants fans in the Chase family. Well, he's a Giants.
Right, you said you don't like sports. You don't like none of it. That's what you told me on vacation. Now, how you a Giants fan all of a sudden?
Because you're a Giants fan.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So he's a Giants fan. So I live vicariously through him when it comes to football. So anywho, I am blessed to have my Cookie Man with me tonight. I'm so glad that he's here. But he may not last to the end. I just wanted to let y'all know because the Giants come on at 8:00. We're going to try to be finished before then. I'm going to really, really try hard. So anywho, again, Valerie Mason Chase here with my Cookie Man representing Marriage Beyond the Breach. And we have a subject that's been on my heart for a while because, Cookie Man, there are a lot of people who are kind of down on marriage. Marriage has really, really gotten a bad rap, and people say negative things about marriage. Hey, Pearl. Hey, Liz. But I want to dispel that. And I have some amazing, amazing guests with me on this evening. And we're going to talk about the flip side of that. Does marriage have its challenges? Absolutely. However, there is some joy to be had. What are you looking at? What John said?
Yeah. How much?
The game. Oh, my son said the game starts at 8:25. Oh, don't let him off the hook early. Thank you, son.
John, how you going to throw me under the bus like that? I got to hear the talking heads pregame.
You don't need, no, we the talking heads tonight, baby. We the talking heads. So I first want to bring on a sister that I met. And she's actually her second time being on. She was on a few months back to talk about what it means to be a wife. And I'm going to bring her on is none other than Miss Aisha Vigo. Hey,
hi,
Aisha.
How are you?
Doing well. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. I appreciate you. So I want to read Aisha's bio real quick. Aisha is a wife of 30 plus years. She's a mother of 5, a grandmother of 6. She's a speaker, wife coach, 2-time entrepreneur, and educator. Aisha Vigo is the founder of Wife Life LLC, a brand dedicated to enriching wives with the tools, resources, and education they need to overcome marital hardships. Using her 30 years of experience in marriage, Aisha is shifting the culture of marriage by teaching wives how to navigate through marital hardships using biblical principles in her Wife Life support group. She's led by God to help transition wives into restored, healed, and empowered women in and outside of their marriages. So again, welcome, Sister Aisha. So everybody give a shout out to Sister Aisha.
Hey.
So I want to bring on the next couple. This couple I met through Liberating Tamar. The two organizations collaborated, and I met this amazing couple. And I'm going to bring them on right now. Here they are, Bobby and Charmaine Carter. Hey, Charmaine. Hey, Bobby.
Hey.
And again, we are the Carters. I love that. So again, I want to thank you for being here. I'm going to read your bio as well. Bobby and Charmaine Carter are a down-to-earth couple who married in 2015 and was under major attack in many aspects of their lives, especially in their marriage. Charmaine felt alone, but looked beyond their circumstances to form Wife Up. Wife Up is a network that bridges the gap between new and experienced wives, happy and hurting wives, and women who desire marriage. In 2016, Charmaine created and launched the 31-Day Wife Up Challenge to enhance love in marriage and started a Facebook support group. Charmaine is a 4-time author. She is an award-winning international speaker and event planner who hosts events to build and strengthen relationships. Wow. Hey, welcome again. Shout out to Bobby and Charmaine. And last but certainly not least, here is this dynamic couple, the Greens. And Frank and I actually met the Greens for the first time. Might have been in 2016 or 2017 ish. When Charmaine had a Wife Up event down in Maryland, and the Greens were some presenters there, and I've been kind of following them ever since then. So James and Cynthia Green are simply a couple still madly in love for the last 16 years after facing one previously failed marriage each. They are not ashamed to say that they felt like they feel like they are still on their honeymoon. I love it. They are the founders of LLC and are marriage and visionary strategists. They help couples see what God has for them by helping couples create a vision and set goals for their marriage so they can stop feeling stuck or alone and can achieve their dreams and destiny. Their goal is to help eradicate divorce. I'm on board for that. I love it. To eradicate divorce, chaos, and confusion in marriages by providing couples with vision that build marriages that last. James and Cynthia are three-time best-selling authors, passionate, prolific, and in-demand speakers, certified professional relationship coaches, and prepare enriched facilitators. They provide online courses, workshops, retreats, conferences, and have what others call the number one couples membership club called the In Love and Loving It Couples Academy. They have been affectionately nicknamed America's favorite couple. I don't know about that. I think me and Camille will get it all. So it is what it is.
Enough to go around.
Enough to go around, right?
That's right. That's right.
Everybody's somebody's favorite.
That's
James
right.
and Cynthia are on a mission and make no excuses about it to let the world know that there are great marriages out there and you can have one too. Their motto is, if you build it, it will last. I love that. I love that motto. So I just want to thank you all again so much for being here. And whoever's on, I encourage you to like, share, subscribe. If you have not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, I would appreciate if you would do so. Candace, hey, Mama Crider, how are you? There's
That's my mama, y'all.
Yeah. John, Liz, and Pearl, thank you so much, all of you who are tuning in. And I like this to be as interactive as possible. So if you have comments, if you have questions that you want to ask any of our couples or all of our couples, feel free to put it in the chat. Okay. So I always like to start at the beginning. And for me, the beginning is your love story. Okay. Because I believe every couple has one. I know Frank and I have a very profound love story. He loves telling our love story, how we met and where we met and who was present and what we did and all that good stuff. I want to ask each one of you to tell us your love story, where and how you met, what attracted you, how long you've been together, and your children, grandchildren, etc. So I'm going to start with the Carters.
Okay. We met in high school, yes, but we were not high school sweethearts. Okay. You want to tell the story?
Yeah, we wasn't high school sweethearts. Yeah, we were in art class, I remember. I don't think I was present at the time, but it was one day that this beautiful person challenged me to smile. And ever since every day was pleasant to me going to art class.
So we did a lot of talking in art class. We both passed. And we exchanged numbers. We talked every day. But he never made a move on me. Mm-hmm. So we ended up just being good friends. For a long time. And then after we finished high school, he contacted me to let me know that he found someone that reminded him of me. And I was like, well, he could have had the real thing, you know, like
lost contact.
Right? And so we both went on our separate ways, lived our lives, both entered relationships that did not work out. And I went through a season where I deactivated my social media account.
And I went stalkerish on her, trying to find her. Going to, I think I tried like 3 people. And hey, have you ever seen Charmaine? Have you seen Charmaine?
And they told me, because you know how friends are, like, hey, you know that guy Bobby from high school, he was asking me about you. And so I reactivated my account, and the first message that I received was from this guy, Bobby Carter.
That's how I was stalkerish at the time. I was looking for it. I couldn't waste it.
All right now.
It was like it's now and it's never.
So in 2012, he asked for a meetup that I did not know if it was a date. So the Mama Crider, she's watching now. So I was trying to get advice from her. I was like, Ma, you know, he asked to meet up, but I don't know if this is a date. I don't know what this is. Should I be cute? Should I be like cute? Like, I don't know what I should do. And she was like, you know, just be cute, but don't look like you're doing too hard. And so I did. But I also had my car detailed that day. So on the day we were supposed to meet up, I was actually 2 hours late, unfortunately. And my phone had died. So I wasn't able to get in touch with Mr. Carter.
I was still there I kind of had me a nice sip. 2 hours sip. Waiting.
Wow, that's confident.
Wow.
She was going to come, but she did come. And of course,
that's confidence right there.
My eyes kind of blew up like, wow.
I showed up 2 hours late, and we had coin meters. So I put like 5 cents in the meter. I didn't put a lot because I knew for sure that Bobby would have left by now. So I went with the hope that like he would still be there. And sure enough, he was there, and he looked like he was disappointed when I walked in, but when he saw me, his eyes lit up. But then I had to go again because I had to put more money in the meter. But after that, the rest is history. Like, we stayed out the rest of the night. We met up like in the middle of the day at like 2 p.m. and we stayed together like we were in high school all over again until like 3 o'clock. Here we are now, almost married for 9 years almost.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? I think the fact that he was still there and he waited for 2 whole hours, I think that says a lot. It says a lot about him as a man, and it also says to me, it says a lot about how he felt about you, that you were worthy of that amount of time to sit and wait for you.
Yes.
So that's special. I love that story. I just want to give a shout out to the erogenous coach, none other than Reverend Dr. LaVon Shaw. Hey, LaVon, thank you for watching. So I want to go next to Miss Aisha. Talk to me about you and Mr. Vigo. Tell us your love story.
So Paul and I met when we were teenagers. We did not go to the same high school, although we grew up in the same town. He was interested in me, but I had no interest in him. I wasn't even thinking about him at all. So his best friend started dating my cousin, and he started sending messages to her through her boyfriend. And, she was telling me that, so-and-so is interested in you. And I'm looking like, no, like, I don't even know him. I'm not interested. No, thank you. So one day we were out for a walk in our town, and we walked past his best friend's house, and he tried to, talk to me, try to do what the cool dudes do when they see a girl walking by. And I just looked at him and I kept walking. I kind of like laughed it off and kept walking. And he was like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I just kept walking. I ignored him. But it wasn't until, I don't know, I think we were at my high school or something. Somehow we met up again. And he was like, "No, like, I'm really interested in you." And I was like, okay. So just out of just to be like, okay, I'll just talk to him for a second. I allowed that conversation to transpire. And before you know it, we started going out on, simple dates. And then after that, I was like, you know what? He might be all right. He seemed kind of okay. He's starting to grow on me a little bit. I think, we can talk a little bit. And before you know it, we started dating, we started hanging out, and I really didn't know much about him, but we started going out to our local restaurants in our town, and I thought, oh, this is cute, like we doing something here. And we started dating, and next thing you know, he was my high school sweetheart, and then he was my baby daddy, and then all of a sudden we got married, and we've been married ever since for 30 years.
Wow, fantastic. I love. I guess you'll probably figure that out by now, right? So I want to talk to the Greens. Tell us your love story.
Oh my gosh, it's so interesting how people met when they were young and then married later. So James and I met over 40 something years ago when he was in the military, and he moved to my hometown, and he happened to move into my neighborhood where I was living. And so, all the neighbors got to know each other, and we became friends. And so he got out of the military, moved from North Carolina, and went back home, Philadelphia. And we stayed contact a little bit over those years because he was friends with my family, but we lost contact for about 10, 11 years. Wow. And we reconnected. And once we reconnected, we stayed friends for a few years. And I don't know, one year, James came to town and he stopped by my house, and my brother happened to be there. And when he left, my brother looked at me. He said, "Sister, that man likes you." And I said, "No, he don't. We're just friends." He's like, "No, sister, that man is in love with you." And I was like, "You think so?" And he was like, "Yes." And my brain just started clicking and going on. And this was Thanksgiving holiday. Because he was in town for the holiday to see his daughter. So it stayed on my mind, and I decided that for the new year, I was going to make a move. I was going to find out if it was true. I said on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2016, I am going to call him.
2016.
I mean, not 2016, 2006. 2006. And I'm going to call him, and I am going to ask him if he's interested in me. No, I didn't say I was going to ask him. I said, I'm going to find out. And I did. I picked up the phone to tell him Happy New Year. And we were just chit-chatting. And I said, I have a question I want to ask you. And then I asked him, I said, "Are you interested in me?" And he was like, I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was, he let me know. Yes. From that day on, we were on the phone probably every single day and half the night.
But here's the key. I left Philadelphia and I was living in Cleveland. And my daughter from our previous marriage was going to Howard University. So every time I took her to Howard and brought her back, I said, stop by and visit Cynthia.
Here in Maryland. Yeah.
Here in Maryland. So one day I went to her church, and her pastor was preaching about stepping out on faith, not looking back. You know how the killer always chases the white woman, and she looks back and she falls, and the killer gets her. But he was talking about you can't look back. Sometimes if you look back, you'll miss that opportunity. You need to be looking ahead, looking at your future, because you could be missing your destiny. And I mean, you're right. Everything he was saying, I'm like, wow. I went back to Cleveland, quit my job, and moved to Maryland, and didn't even have a job because I knew I was going to marry this woman.
Wow.
I stepped out on faith, not even having a job here in Maryland. I just knew it was my destiny, and I didn't want to miss my blessing, because it says he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And I found her, and I was going to make sure that I didn't miss that opportunity.
Wow. That's some shown up faith right there, brother.
And plus, how did we reconnect after that 10 or 11 years?
Oh my God.
I was living in Cleveland, like I said, and they were sending me to a class here in Maryland. So I ended up, I don't know what made me call her mother. Her mother had the same number, I guess, for 50
like
years.
12 years, 11 years later, and he remembered my mother's phone number in North Carolina.
And she said, well, Cynthia lives in Maryland now. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going there for a class. Let me look her up or call her, because her mother said, I'm not giving you that girl's number. So I gave her my number, and that's how we reconnected.
Bobby, I can't call you a stalker no more. James, get the stalker.
Okay, wait. No. She chased me. Didn't she say, I'm going to find out if that man likes me? She was hunting me down. She was chasing me. She wore me down, and I just said yes.
Wow. I love that story. Wow. That's some real faith right there.
Sure enough. With all of that, I have a question for you guys. It seems that marriage has gotten a bad rap, and there's a great deal of cynicism and negativity associated with it. What would you say to those individuals who have that view of marriage?
And any one of you can take that.
You know what? I'll go first.
Mhm.
There was a time when all that negativity was going on social media, and I used to post things about James and we didn't even have our business then, I don't think, at the time. And because people were being so negative, I stopped talking about us in a positive way. I stopped talking about us and saying how much I love my husband and things like that, because people were making so many negative comments. And I don't remember, I heard a word in church one Sunday, and I was like, you know what? That's not, my pastor's like, you can't let other people's opinions influence who you are. He wasn't talking about social media or marriage or anything like that. But when he said that, it hit me hard. I was like, you know what? If I love my husband, I love my husband. If we got a great marriage, we got a great marriage. You know what? That's not my problem that other people don't, or that they don't understand it, or that they don't like it. But that's my life.
Right.
That's who I am. And I am never going to put down, who I am and how I'm feeling, and that I have a great marriage. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so positive and so passionate about helping other people realize that they can have a great marriage too. You just got to be willing to do the work.
And see, and to piggyback off of what Cynthia said, they say married couples 50% end in divorce, but all they focus on is that negative 50%. They don't focus on the positive 50%, the ones that are making it. That's what bothers me. And when you see movies, television shows, and the news, they always want to portray a couple as having problems, as getting divorced, as breaking up. I mean, even some of the positive TV shows, the couple has problems and they seem to break up. They never focus on the positive, because we always say, they talk about power couples, but powerful couples ask powerful questions, and those questions steer your focus. So what are you focusing on? Maybe you need to start focusing on that 50% that are making it, that 50% that been through some things and came out on the other side, because we're overcome by our testimonies, and our testimonies help other people. So when you tell your story about the positive, that will change people's mindset and then influence them. You know what? Maybe I should focus on that 50% that are making it, that 50% that are doing good, that 50% that been through something and came out on the other side, and now you have a great marriage.
That's right.
Listen. I love that, and I feel exactly the same way, because there's too much emphasis, like you said, being placed on the couples that don't make it, but the couples that do make it don't get hardly any attention, especially couples like Frank and I, who had a lot of marital challenges, and now we are on the other side, been together 43 years, married 42 years, so
And that's the problem. When there's a problem that comes up in a marriage, sometimes they're so quick to walk away instead of working through it. Especially, I'm not going to portray, say, the younger couples, because a lot of younger couples will say, well, I'm not even going to go through that, so I'm not even going to get married.
Exactly.
But even some of the older ones will say, I can't do this anymore. This is too hard. Like I always say, it's supposed to be hard. Hard is what makes it great, because if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Everyone
I think hard is still a term that is relative, right? We're probably the youngest couple here, right? And so when we started Wife Up, I always explained that I had parents who have been married for quite some time. Bobby did not have any exposure to marriage, and so even I've never seen my family fight, and so like I have this image of like this perfect marriage. And so when I saw that me and Bobby were having some concerning issues, I didn't know anyone to go to be like, oh girl, that's normal, And so like things that should be normalized wasn't normalized when we got married. And so, I mean, that's really why Wife Up started, was because it's like, all right, we need to be transparent. We need to expose the reality of marriage and break down what hard really means. Because when two people come together and one person can have exposure to marriage, one person doesn't have exposure to marriage, or both people desire marriage and don't have any exposure to any good marriages, you're coming in with really unrealistic expectations, and you're hoping for the best, but you really don't know how to work through those things. And so I think that it takes exposure to realize that, like, we are human. No marriage is perfect. We put in actual tasks. We make goals. We work together. We communicate to come together to create how we want the marriage to be, not how somebody else's marriage should be. But then also it's exposure to other people. And so, like, for a cynic who may have had a bad marriage or who may believe that there's no good marriages, I think that if there's a little piece of you that hopes that there is a good marriage out there, that you hold on to that and you try to change your news feed to reflect some marriages that you may see as successful. Like, you join Marriage Built to Last, you join the Wife Life Coach, you join Wife Up, and you partner with people who have had a track record of successful marriages, so that you can build that hope and then put in the work to make your marriage successful too.
Right. And Charmaine, you hit the nail on the head, because like you said, hard. What is hard? To everybody, hard is different.
Right.
You know, maybe they just don't want to deal with it, because I don't look at it as hard. It's not hard. If you do the work and put in the work, everything is easy.
Yeah. And I agree with both of you, because growing up, I grew up where my parents had dysfunctional marriages, and then by their 25th year, they were separated. But even in their marriage, their friend group were not of other married couples. You know, it was of single couples. So I grew up in the era where it's be independent, be strong, don't worry about no man, this, that, and the other. So when I came into the time to get married, I wanted different for myself. I wanted different. I wanted to purpose to have a good marriage. I wanted to be a good wife, but I didn't have the support I needed to go to, because if you share that story with someone you love, like, you're going through some hardship out of love, even though it was out of love, it was the wrong advice. Leave that person. You don't have to deal with that. You young, you can do this and you can do that. But I knew in my heart that I wanted my marriage to work. So trying to find the right people to have the right support to give the right advice at first was really hard, because if you didn't know who to go to, you're going to get the wrong advice. And in the church, and I'm not bashing the church, because I'm a believer and I'm a Christian, there wasn't a lot of support of people talking about marriage. They would just say, do this and do that, but there was no real explanation as to why, no real background information. So when I started Wife Life, I was like, we're going to talk about everything transparent, because the TV, as you mentioned, TV shows, Disney, all that, they portray a picture, but they don't tell you how to make it work, how to work through it, how to communicate with your spouse to build the kind of marriage that you desire to have, that's going to grow healthy and strong for the two of you. So, yeah.
That's good. That's real good. And I love the transparency piece, because that's one of the things that Frank and I are very, very committed to. Because I think it's really helpful, and it can bless other people, especially when they're going through their own difficulties. If they see a couple that has faced those same difficulties and they made it over to the other side, it doesn't have to be the end. So, yeah, I definitely agree with everything that everyone said.
That was my thing. When we talk about exposure, when we were going through our worst times, I just wanted to keep it in house. I didn't want to talk about it because I was afraid what might be said back. But when we went on this venture, Married Beyond the Breach, and I had the opportunity to talk about it and see other people out there struggling, and the feedback that we would receive, it made me want to continue to talk about things and realize, hey, someone is hearing this and it's going to help. So that was a very good feeling.
And something that you said, Aisha, about friends and having other couples. who speak life into your marriage. One of my best friends, Danny, told me many years ago, said, Val, everyone who is your friend is not necessarily a friend of your marriage. So it is helpful and healthy to have to surround your marriage with those who are supportive of your marriage, who will speak life into your marriage, who will encourage you to work through your differences. I don't, single folk are fine, but if you married and you want to stay married and you want people who to pour into you, then perhaps you need to have some other married folk around that you spend time with. That scripture that says iron sharpens iron, and I believe that's what we're supposed to do with one another in our marriages. So I just want to give a shout out real quick to my nephew Kimba, Vanessa Rosario. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, if you have any questions or comments, put it in the chat.
And Valerie, I was agreeing with you, and that's what I was going to say. What Aisha said about having friends around you. Cynthia and I always says, "Who is your Fab Five? Who are the 5 couples you have around you?" And that will show what your marriage looks like. So if you have 5 couples around you that got dysfunctional marriages, that may lead to your marriage being dysfunctional. That's why we go. And if you have 5, you can't keep pouring out. You need someone to pour into you sometimes. Pour into your marriage. That's why we always say, who's your Fab 5? Who is your 5 favorite couples you like being around? And do they pour into you? Do they strengthen your marriage? Like you said, iron sharpens iron. So Aisha, she hit the nail on the head with your friends around you.
That makes a huge difference. And I want to apologize for some of the glitches because we're having a bit of a storm over here. So there's been some interruptions a couple of times, and I can't promise that it won't happen again. Because when the storm hits, technology kind of does its own thing. So we know that marriage can be challenging at times. So I'm wondering what, if anything, has been the most challenging for you and your spouse, and how did you overcome it? And anybody can take that.
So for me, because we were so young and we were trying to navigate these waters on our own, like we were just so grown, like we thought we knew what we were doing and we didn't have any clue. So finances was a challenge for us. Budgeting was a challenge because we just went in thinking like, oh, we got this, we're going to do this, but not having a real concept of how to manage our finances. So we struggled in at that aspect, as well as communication. That was, watching how my parents spoke to each other was how we talked. I spoke to my spouse at first, and watching his parents, speak to each other was just how we communicated. And that was hard because 1, we weren't listening to each other. 2, I grew up in the era where be independent, have your own purse, don't rely on no man, so we had separate bank accounts. So my money was my money, his money was my money, but he couldn't have none of mine. You know what I mean? So, those were just some of the challenges that we faced. And it was really hard at first because we trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. We trying to write a check back in those days to write a check, knowing that if we didn't have that money in the account within 3 days, that check was going to bounce. So we was a hot mess trying to navigate these waters as young married couples and raising a family. So those were our challenges at first. But once we got around people that spoke into us, and once we also matured about like this is the proper way to do things if we want to make it work, if we want to have enough money then month, we're going to have to do things differently. And that communication needed to come in, making a budget, saying, okay, this is the priorities that we need to make sure that we address first before we think about going out to eat here or going to try to go have a vacation or whatever the case may be. We need to make sure that the house is taken care of first.
Okay.
Well, for us, I want to say it was blended families because we both been married previously. So this is both of our second marriage, but I don't say second marriage. I say this is our final marriage. But anyway, I had 2 children from a previous marriage and she had 2. since we don't have any children together. And I could say we did it all wrong in blending our families. We didn't tell them at all. We just went and did what we wanted
He
to do.
came in like a whirlwind taking charge. That's what
Well,
happened.
that's because I was in the military. I was a disciplinarian. And she used to say, I let them express themselves, which to me, expressing yourself was talking back. I'm sorry. But anyway, we did it all wrong. And that's why when we speak, we can speak on blended families. And we tell people we did it all wrong.
But we learned how to get it right.
Learned how to get it right. We actually sat them down and had like a family meeting and explained it all, cleared the air. There were tears, there was hugging, there was crying, and then now it's great.
Yep.
It's great.
Beautiful.
And that was in our first year
of marriage, and we haven't had a problem since. So in 16 years, the first year was the issue, and it's been 15 great years after that.
Wow, that's good. So it sounds like even though you say you started out doing it wrong, you didn't continue in that wrongness for a very long time.
No,
but I think that's what people struggle with. Even when they realize they're doing it, I won't say wrong, but it could be done a better way. They don't necessarily make that change, and they continue on and continue on and continue on, and then just things start to spiral. So yeah, that's good. That's real good.
Baby, you want to
share, Bobby?
I think it was the work-life balance. Me just being away from my family too much. And when I came home, I was just there, not being present. And I feel like that has been a problem. And I soon have changed to where I'm giving more time to family than actually working.
And it goes back to what we were talking about with friends, right? It took a friend to point out to Bobby, like, hey, y'all see all these pictures being posted, but you ain't never in them. Like what's good? Like, your family is together, and you talk about your family, but you're never in a photo with your family. And so, like, doing Wife Up, it was always challenging because, here I am like fighting for marriage, but I'm also in a marriage where my husband was working. Like I said, Bobby never had exposure to marriage before. And so for him, being a husband was being a provider meant working. And so like he would take on overtime and he was working all the time. And then when he wasn't working, he was too tired to really spend time with us. And so we have a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old. And so it's a huge age gap. So it requires a lot of, attention. And so it was just a lot of time, managing those two children, oftentimes without him, and still living life and, wanting to create routine and wanting to get them exposed to great things. But oftentimes he wasn't there. So it did take a toll on our relationship, and I'm grateful for friends like him. We're not going to shout out. You know who you are if you're watching this. Who called him out? It was like, get yourself together, brother. You got a good one over there. You need to do right.
Question for the panels: what has been the most rewarding part of marriage?
Wow. I can answer that one.
It's being with me.
Well, he told the truth. I was gonna say, I think the best part of marriage for me is that I got this person that I absolutely love and adore spending my time with. Like I was telling you guys right before we got on,
I was joking.
Well, it's the truth. Okay. We went on an 11-day vacation. And I was telling my girlfriend, I said, okay, so we both work from home and I see him every day. But on vacation, it was like I just couldn't get enough of him. I was all up under him. And, we would just, we do so much when we go on vacation. And we got the same energy. Like, like James and I, we realize we are a lot alike in a lot of ways, but we're definitely a lot not alike in many ways too. But like, we go in the store, we're looking for something, we go in there, we look for that thing, and we're both ready to get up out of there. We'll go experience something, we'll experience it, and we're like, okay, we don't need to ever go back there again. We're like always on the same page, y'all.
Yeah.
I was telling we did a Zoom. So we just celebrated our sweet 16th anniversary on Friday, September 8th. And we did a Zoom virtual
Happy
party.
anniversary.
Pardon me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary, sweet 16.
Thank you so much. And so we did a Zoom celebration last night, and my mom was on, and she said all these nice, great things about us. I said, y'all, let me just tell y'all, my mama used to tell me, you act like you can't pee without James. And so my mother said, well, you've gotten better.
So Charmaine, you know who the stalker is now, right?
But no, like we go grocery shopping together. We go to Lowe's together. We work in the yard together. If I cook, he does the dishes. When I clean the house, he vacuums. When we fold laundry together, we like the same TV shows. You know, we have a lot in common, and we just enjoy helping one another. Like James used to say, like we try to outdo one another. We really don't consciously, but unconsciously, we're always helping one another. We're partners in every way.
Wow, that's beautiful.
That is beautiful. I was gonna keep mine simple and I mean, because we married, we for real, and you know, we're believers, but I mean, the truth is, like, I got a booty call on demand. Like, oh, that's right. I got the camera right now, and I can get my booty call on demand right here. And so I think that's probably the most rewarding part of the marriage. Is like, I hear my single friends, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so lonely. You know, I'm just waiting for the one that God has called for me, and I'm trying to hold out. I'm trying to be absent." I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I got mine right here."
I love it. That's the most rewarding.
I feel you on that one, girl.
Well, congratulations. Happy anniversary. I think for me,
oh, there's a little delay there. Can y'all hear her? Because I know I can't.
No, she's frozen.
She's frozen.
Oh, she's frozen. Okay.
I'm laughing at my comment.
On
yeah.
demand.
Oh,
I like that, Levon. I like that.
Come on. If you're married and you believe that, say type amen in the comments. Give me some high fives. Give me some claps.
I just wanted to touch on that question also. I mean, with a marriage as lengthy as ours, there can be so many rewarding things. But for me, the most simplest and greatest reward, no matter what happened, I know she's there when I come home.
That's true. I am
so good.
And I was just telling Bobby a few days ago, I love that it's two people going on a journey together, not knowing what the future holds, traveling the unknown together, and really building a life and a legacy together. You know, every single person that you touch together, you know, the children that you make, like you're pouring in and you're making the world better through your legacy together.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. And that was so good because that's why Cynthia and I, you know, we help couples see their vision. You have to know where you're going. You have to see where you want to be and what you want to do for the future. Because if not, things won't work out. You'll become stagnant. You know, things won't work out. It's a matter of knowing where you want to go, how you want things to go, and where you want to be, and planning that out together.
Right. Absolutely. Aisha?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. It's storming. I'm sorry.
It's storming over here too, sis. So I know what's going on.
Oh,
So
I just wanted to say, if I can,
can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right.
Can you
go
hear
ahead.
me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the rewarding part for me is getting away, having our alone time when we're going on vacation to just enjoy the two of us. Because we have 5 children. They're all adults now, but we have grands. And so I opened up a child care center in my home. So we constantly have kids every day. every day, all day, even on the weekend when I'm supposed to be off. So those moments that we can get away and enjoy our vacation, that's our time. That's the time where we can
Mm,
not focus on anything else and then just enjoy us. So I
yeah.
look forward to those moments.
I
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
like
I get that. And the most rewarding for me is just knowing that I have my person, knowing that he's here, somebody I can count on, somebody to do life with. Because I don't know how anybody else feels, but I prefer being married. I think I would kind of lose my mind if I ended up being single, but I love,
Mhm.
love, love being married. I love the partnership. I love the companionship. I love that when something happens, I got someone to share it with. Say, oh, Frank, guess what? To me, there's nothing like that. Say, oh, baby, guess what? And sometimes I know I drive him crazy because I have a whole lot of guess what. But to me, that is really, really, really rewarding. So Candace said something. Let me see what Candace said over here. That we thought you love the kid moments too.
They
That's your
calling
daughter.
you out.
Yeah, they enjoy the kid. They enjoy me having the kid moments, but and I love that
Mm-hmm.
too. But also, I love getting away and just doing stuff for us. You know, our last trip we had was 7 days in Jamaica, and we went snorkeling.
Mm-hmm.
We did, we just did stuff that we normally don't get to do, and just be
Yeah,
us. So
I
that's
love
always
that.
breathtaking.
So I want to ask you all about there's this couple, John and Julie Gottman. They're psychologists and they've done a lot of extensive research in the area of marriage and relationships. And Dr. Gottman has a book, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work. And in his book, he said 2 of those 7 principles are allowing your spouse to influence you and solving solvable problems. So how have these shown up in your marriage?
So
Allowing your spouse to influence you and solving the solvable problems. Go ahead, Aisha.
my husband is an extrovert. He's very social. He's the social butterfly. I'm the quiet one, right? So he can go up and have a conversation with anybody. And it comes so natural. It's so easy for him to do. For me, I have to work up the nerve. I have to
Mm,
watch the room. I have to build up all this stuff. Just, but being around him and seeing him just do it with such ease and just, make friends and connections that way, I've learned to allow that to soften me, if you will, because that I was
mm,
so tight, so rigid. Like I just got to watch everybody to make sure, we're in the right space. And he just enjoys the moment. He really
mm.
does just enjoys the moment. So that influenced me to relax, just have fun. It
Mm,
doesn't hurt to say hi, how you doing? Because the conversation can just be so organic and it could just flow. So that
yes.
influences me, just his outgoing nature. That really helps me. And solvable things, he is the provider. Like he works really, really, really hard. And he's working now. Like he will work double shifts every day just to make sure that he can provide for the house. And
Mm,
so I almost don't want to come to him sometimes because sometimes I'm like, you need to stop, you need to take a break, you need to rest. But when I do that to him, sometimes, not all the times, it takes him out of his element because he likes to provide for his
mm,
family. So
mhm,
those are the things
mhm,
that he like to do to solve problems that we may have in our household. So trying to have a balance of understanding, his nature to work, but also
mhm.
bring him back in and say, okay, mellow out. You need a rest. You need a break. You need to put your feet up. Things are going to be
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention the difference between you and your husband because we are exactly the same.
Mm, mm,
I will talk to a tree and
mm.
a tree won't even talk back. I'll talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime, whatever. Frank, on the other hand, not so much.
The same thing. I gotta watch the room, make sure I'm sitting in the right spot. hear the conversations. Now I will say, and like I said, that influence from always being around Val. Let's go out. Let's go out with these people. I don't know them. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. First thing come out my mouth. What I'm gonna talk about. The last time when we were at the wedding, and maybe one time before that, it's like I said, the conversation
just flowed.
Can be organic,
right?
And then I feel like I'm included. I used to always have the problem where, because most of the people might have known each other and I didn't, right away I felt excluded. So I'm just gonna sit up there and just post up look at her like I'm ready to go. But again, her natural influence of always talking and people and stuff like that. Frank, just first of all, smile, Frank. And everything will work. And it's gotten better. I'm still a little rigid in my way, but
you know, don't look so much like an FBI agent.
Yeah, so
everywhere we go.
No, that's a correction.
Everywhere we go, everyone always asks him, "Are you a cop? Are you a police officer?" Yeah, no, he's not. Corrections officer, yeah, but police officer, no. So what about what about you, Green?
Bobby will be right back, but I think it's important to differentiate influence versus attack. And I think in relationships, oftentimes, we try to be an influence, we try to be a helpmate, right, to our spouses. But the other spouse may view it as an attack. And so then it's a guard that's put up, right? They're not trying to be influenced because they feel like it's competition or feel like you're attacking who I am. And I think that once you remove that, when you remove whatever you may have some type of subjective feeling towards, whether it's trauma, whether it's just like, this is how I've always done it, I'm not open to doing anything new, and you really open your mind to trying new things, because if you're really trusting your spouse, right, you trust that your spouse wants what's best for you and believes that you can do it if you just let your guard down and allow them to be an influence where they're strong at, and you work together, then that's when you really grow and you see magic happen.
Wow, that's good.
It's good.
Influence versus attack. I love it.
I like that because, Charmaine, that's Cynthia and I, we just took that attack completely out, because we always say your spouse should be your biggest cheerleader.
Right.
So whatever you want to do, they should be cheering you on, whether whether they feel it'll be successful or not. Your spouse, you may say, well, I want to start a cooking class, and they may think that's the dumbest idea I ever heard because you can't cook. But they won't say it. They'll say, baby, I think that's a good idea. Why don't you try it? Right. Then when it fails, you be like, yeah, baby, I shouldn't have tried. They say, yeah, but at least you tried. So we always say your spouse should be your biggest cheerleader, and your spouse should have your best interests at heart. So when Cynthia tells me something, I always take it as an influence, and I never take it negative, because I know she's just trying to encourage me, build me up, and make me better, because your spouse is there to make you better. So when she suggests something, that's what I always take it to heart. Like, plus we always maybe see God first and give you that guidance and say, you know what, maybe you should try it. Because here's an example. I wanted to take piano lessons. I wanted to learn to play piano. So she found piano lessons and encouraged me to take piano lessons.
Wow.
And we went and bought a piano. Now I can play the piano.
Not we.
Okay.
Okay.
And so the next one, which was last year, I'm sorry, I said, I want to play the drums. She went and bought me a drum set. And
bad mistake.
And so now I'm taking lessons. So we never look at it as negative. We always try to look at it as positive, because your spouse will have your best interests at heart, and they're just trying to make you a better person.
Wow.
Like you said, your spouse should be your biggest cheerleader, and they should edify you, build you up. It's so easy to tear somebody down. It's harder to build that person up.
And that's so true, because, I tell, when we're coaching couples, I tell them, don't take offense at what your spouse says, because your spouse is there to help you grow. They see things that nobody else will probably ever see. They I think someone said earlier, they see, someone said that last night on our show. They see you naked. Like, how many people gets to really see you? Like, and when I say naked, I don't just be naked in your body, but just naked in your emotions, naked in your thoughts, naked in, in your walk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so your spouse is going to point out things that maybe nobody else might not ever point out. And sometimes you need to take into account what they're saying. I also want to say, yeah, James lets me influence him in some things, but there's some moments he'd be like, don't be telling me what to do. So I believe in telling the truth, but when it's the important things, or no, it can be any old thing he does. And also I want to say, when y'all talk about the introvert and extrovert, I think that's they say opposite attract. I find it seems like that's the truth in every relationship. Y'all would not believe that James is an introvert. I'm the extrovert. When we're out and about,
social butterfly,
I'll get on the elevator and I'll be like, "Good morning, everybody."
Oh my God! And I'm sorry, we were on a cruise for anniversary, and she gets on the elevator talking. Hey, good morning, everybody. Y'all having a great time? I'm over here like, this gets on my nerves. I'm sorry.
He's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Like even for like this show, I have to drag James to talk. Once he gets there, he's the life of the party. He's a talker. But I have to drag him to places. I'm not dragging him, but I'm using that term. But I have to really encourage him and tell him the why. Sometimes we wonder why our spouse doesn't want to do what we ask them to do. Sometimes they need the why. Or sometimes you need to let them know, what, I just need your support.
Right. And like I said, they're trying to help you. Like Charmaine, what you said, you have a booty call on standby all the time. But just think, when you tell your spouse, well, I know what I'm. The man might say, "I know what I'm doing." Yeah, but I don't like when you do that. I like when you do this. And all they're trying to do is give you those teachable moments so you can please your spouse and make it better.
He's talking Dr. Levin's language right now.
But you know what I'm saying,
right?
The man's ego could say, "Well, I know what I'm doing. I know how to put it down." And your wife might say, "Well, I don't like how you put it down to me. Maybe you need to do this or do that." And they may take offense. But like you said, Charmaine, you can't get mad about it or take it in a negative way. All they're trying to do is help you to make sure
help the relationship.
You can please them the way they want to be pleased.
Right. And not just help the relationship overall, and help you both have a more enjoyable sexual experience.
Right. I'm sorry I went there on the sex part, but
we all grown.
We were just trying to get a point across about influencing and don't take it in a negative way.
So what do you guys think is the single most important factor for a successful marriage?
Communication.
I think finding out what works for you in your marriage. Of course, everybody's going to say communication, but I always tell people there is no cookie cutter formula for marriage. You have to find what works for you and your spouse. Some couples like to go, travel, do lots of things. Some of them love staying home and relaxing, and taking it easy. So you have to find what works for your marriage, and don't envy what other people are doing, because you want your spouse to do this or your spouse to do that. You have to talk about it. That's why we tell couples, get a vision for your marriage. What is it that you're supposed to be doing together in this earth? Why did God put the two of you together? What's your purpose? And then set goals to achieve the things that you want to do in life. For me, that's the key. Right. And that takes communication.
And that's so true, because if you look at it that way, what works for you, how do you get to that point? And everybody will say communication. It does take communication, but you have to come into agreement. And sometimes you have to make a sacrifice, because it's not only going to be about you. It's about the two of you now. Once you get married, now you're a team. Now the two of you become one. And I always say sacrifice leads to success. So in order to have a successful relationship, sometimes you're going to have to make a sacrifice. Sometimes you're going to have to do the things that she wants to do. And sometimes she's going to have to do the things that maybe you want to do. That's like Cynthia said, there's no cookie cutter way, but you have to find out what works and come into agreement. Like we always say, when you come into agreement, that's where God commands the blessing. Your marriage is going to be blessed, but you have to agree. You have to come agree. Can two walk together unless they agree? It's a matter of coming into agreement to make things work for the future.
I like to make it as simple as this, and it's summarizing what you just shared, because we all kind of share the same sentiment that communication is important, right? If I desire a successful marriage, I may come into my relationship saying that I want to be the best spouse that I can be. But that was different than saying, I want to be the best spouse that Bobby needs.
Good.
That's good.
Right? Because you have your expectation of what a good wife or a good husband is, but it could be completely different from what your spouse needs.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so I would be Bobby's best spouse, right? But if the tables were flipped and we exchanged marriages, then I could be a complete mess for one of y'all. You know what I'm saying? And so like it is, like you said, it's looking at your relationship.
Yep.
Forget
good.
everything else that you were exposed to. It may be things that you admire, but it does take communication to see what exactly works for the person that you are with.
So good.
I love that, because I do hear that a lot. Oh, I want to be the best husband I can be, the best spouse, the best wife I can be. But like you said, you want to be the best spouse for your partner. I love that. So I want to take a minute, and I would like for each of you just to talk about any events you have coming up, talk about your platform. Aisha, I'm going to start with you to talk about Wife Life.
Oh, thank you. So Wife Life is a support group that I started in Facebook. It's a private space for wives to come together to talk about all things marriage. And we cover every topic, whether it's intimacy, sex, hardships such as infidelity, all of it we talk about, only because I've experienced a lot in my 30 years of marriage. And I believe if we have a safe space where we can come and talk about it and address these issues, we can show up as a better person in our marriage, and we can begin to heal. And I think that is so needed. It is so important. In addition to that, I recently wrote a book. So I'm an author now. So I'm super proud, super excited of that. And the next thing I will be doing is I will
Tell them the name of your book. Tell them the name of your book.
Yes, so sorry. It is Wife Life: How to Grow from Struggling to Successful in Your Marriage. And you can find that on Amazon. You could also find that on my Wife Life website as well. And the next thing I will be doing is I will be a breakout speaker at a conference called Roadmap to Destiny in Orlando, Florida.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, Charmaine, tell us about Wife Up.
So we have a support group, as I shared in the bio, if you joined us in the beginning, that like immediately, almost after saying I do, we had some issues in our marriage. And so I always believe in making the world better than I found it. And so I created what I needed at that time. And so Wife Up is a network where women can come together and support one another in their marriage. And so you just put it down there on Instagram. You can find us at wife.up. We're on Facebook. You can find us, just look up Wife Up. We have a private support group, which is also a safe space. And we are a resource. And so we have the Wife Up Challenge. You got the book, babe?
It must have dropped.
It dropped somewhere. When he left me, he moved the book and he can't find it anymore. Oh, yeah. But yes. So this is how Wife Up started. It's called the Wife Up Challenge.
Yes.
And this is all God. This is God working through our pain and turning it into a passion. And so if you're looking to just reignite the spark in your marriage, I encourage you to look up the Wife Up Challenge on Amazon. And we have a bunch of resources on Amazon. If you're single and you're just looking for some advice and you're trying to prepare for marriage, I have a book called 15 Lessons Learned. It's like that. But everything is on Amazon. You can just look up my name, Charmaine Carter, or you can just look up Wife Up, and we have tons of resources that will help you in your relationship. We don't have any events right now, but you follow us and trust me, it will be at a couples event or a women's event happening very soon.
All right. All right, the Greens.
Well, we have quite a few things going on right now. I wanted to share, we have 3 books that we've written. So one of them is 40-Day Journey to the Marriage of Your Dreams. This is actually what James and I did the 40 days leading up to our marriage. And about 8 years later, God told us to put it in a book. And so the book, last year we did this book, Couples Determined to Make Marriage Great. So this conversation that we're having today reminds me so much of why we wrote that book. So that is a book with 16 couples sharing their story, their why, things they went through in marriage and how they came out on the other side. And we're actually have started the process of doing book number 2 to get 15 more couples to share their story. And so if anyone is interested in that, please just reach out to us and let us know, because that book really can help people in their relationship, because when you see somebody else is either going through or has gone through something that you're going through and they came through it, it can be encouragement, it can be inspiration, and they can reach out to every single couple in that book because their information is in there. And in 2 weeks, you guys, 2 weeks, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We are having our 7th annual couples conference called Couples Fest. And yes, and I'm just so excited. There's so many surprises and things that we're doing. I got a call from BJ's today, y'all. Like, sponsors don't usually call you up on a Sunday. BJ's called me up today and said, you know what? We want to support your event this year. And so we're giving you a visit to come buy some things to help you at your event. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just had a conversation with the lady in BJ's. James and I were in there shopping. And she's like, do you have a flyer? And I gave her my flyer. So I'm just excited. We got a lot of surprises, a lot of things that's going to be happening this year. And so anybody who's interested is couplesfestexpo.com, couplesfestexpo.com, or you can go over to Eventbrite and on our Facebook pages and just find all types of information out there about the upcoming event. And then last but not least, we like to give away prizes. Yes. So Valerie just put on the screen. We have a kissing list, y'all. I love this kissing list. Did y'all know that?
I love it. I got it right here.
Oh, so y'all, did y'all know there's 17 different ways that you can kiss? Like, I found 17 different ways. So if you download this list, you'll see all the 17 ways, and you will have so much fun with your boo thing, trying out all the different kisses.
Yes. So let me just talk about a couple, because there were a couple. Okay, Cookie Man, you want to go see the Giants, right?
Well, go ahead.
Give me a couple more minutes. Okay.
Look, they playing my team. I don't want to get into it with you tonight, okay, Mr. Chase? But you're playing my team, so don't cry tonight. Don't cry tonight. It's gonna be.
Don't cry tonight. Okay.
So listen, one of them is Kiss of an Angel. And it says a gesture of sincere love. It's when you kiss someone on the eyelid just below the brow. It's seductive, but at the same time saying, I really love you. The single lip kiss. It's a single lip kiss, an erogenous kiss. This kiss is when you suck one of your partner's lips between yours. You could take turns, but you got to be careful. Oh, but this is my favorite. It's my favorite.
You told some good ones, y'all.
Listen, the Spider-Man kiss.
I knew it.
The Spider-Man kiss. I love it.
You got to hang from a tree to do it.
This kiss actually came right from the Spider-Man movie. It's the scene where Spider-Man kissed a woman while he was upside down and she was right side up. You can do this kiss while laying horizontal in bed or on the couch. I love it. Those are just a few examples. I encourage you. If you missed any of the links or anything, just reach out to me. I can share them with you. And hopefully you took a screenshot of all the different links. So in closing, I just want to ask. So what advice or encouragement would each of you give for either a married couple or those who are considering marriage?
Y'all know what? I'm like Charmaine. I like to keep it simple. Come together. Talk about it. What do you want in your marriage? And what do you not want in your marriage? and come to it into agreement on some things that you can change or some things that you can do so that you can set up your marriage the way you want it to be, that's going to help you be successful, help you stay in love, help you be on one accord, and so that you're both getting what you need, what you want out of the relationship. It's not, like James said, it's not hard.
I agree. I would say forgive each other often.
Yes.
Because we're not perfect.
That's right.
So forgive each other often. Give each other some grace. Be gentle. Be kind to one another, because we extend that to people outside of our marriage, but we have to do that more intentional within our marriage. Put each other first. Prioritize each other first.
I love that.
And I would say,
I would definitely say, just pay attention to the other person. You need to listen to them and sit and listen instead of talking. Stop trying to talk so much and listen.
You hear that conviction in his?
Yes.
At the end of the day, when everything goes down, it's important for you to sometimes remove the title of spouse, remove the title of husband, remove the title of wife, and remember that you married your friend. And the same grace, the same love, unconditional love that you would give one of your closest friends, apply that to the person you married, because sometimes, depending on what happens, it can be some expectations, and you can hold that title or that status of spouse over the top of your mind, and you can judge them, and they will feel that judgment that you give. But if you remove all that and you remind yourself, you got to check yourself sometimes and say, no, this is my friend. At the end of the day, you're my friend. And what would I do for my dearest friend? I think that will always bring you back and kind of, keep you in a place that's kind of level-headed.
That's good. That's good. What would you add to that, babe?
Let him watch his football game.
Right, but no, don't be afraid to open up, expose yourself. Because a lot of times I was afraid of saying what I was feeling, anticipating a response. I had to let that go.
Right.
Like you said, Val is my wife, Val is my friend. I should be able to talk to her at all times.
And I would say always remain teachable and willing to grow. Because as time goes by, especially if you intend to be together for a long time, you are not going to be the same person that you were when you got married 5 years later or 10 years later or 20 years later. Because with growth, you inevitably are going to have some changes in your life. So be willing to grow and be willing to share that with your partner and allow your partner to grow and change. Don't expect him or her to be exactly the same as they were 20 years ago, because it ain't gonna happen. And Mama Crider said vulnerability. Absolutely. Be vulnerable, be willing to be open, be willing to be transparent, and be willing to share every part of your life. Don't compartmentalize your life and have this little area over here where you don't share with your partner. And go ahead, baby. Go ahead. Go. Are you okay? All right.
I figured you was winding down.
I see him kind of easing up because the Giant game will start in a minute.
The game is on, y'all. The game is on.
I'm sorry.
But I'm glad that he was here with us on
No,
tonight.
he communicated that up front. He said, listen, game start at 8.
That was the disclaimer.
Yeah.
But thank you. This has been an amazing conversation. And I just pray that there are people out there who will be blessed by it, who will be helped by it, who will be edified by it, whose marriages can be transformed. Because some people ask me, well, what if my partner is not willing to change? What if my partner doesn't want to come to counseling, but you come to counseling? You make the change that is necessary, because even if one person does it, it can change the whole dynamic of the relationship. So I'm just praying that it has been helpful to those out there. And again, if you haven't already done so, I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and follow Wife Up, follow Wife Life, and follow Marriage Built to Last. I shared all their links on the screen, but if you missed anything, just reach out to me, Valerie at marriagebeyondthebreach.com, Valerie at marriagebeyondthebreach.com, and I will share all of their information with you. And please get your kissing list.
Yeah.
You
Well,
will
Valerie, Tanya asks, how often do you go live?
Well, typically every Sunday, but there are some Sundays that we don't. If I take off a couple of Sundays, like last Sunday and the Sunday before, we didn't because, we were away. But typically every Sunday at 7 p.m. we're live here on StreamYard. So just click the notification bell and you will be informed about when we have upcoming broadcasts. Next week, our topic is love really blind? Is love really blind? So I pray that you will tune in. And again, thank you all so much. I love you, and I'll see you next time.
Love you too.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Good night.
Take care,
So
everybody.
great seeing all of
Take
you guys.
care.
Hey, take care. See y'all later.